Hello everybody and welcome back to a brand new episode of Formula 1 2019 Career Mode. Today we go to the Hungarian Grand Prix, so a track that I have struggled at in past games, so I wasn't very excited coming into this, but actually we had more speed than I expected. My pace was kind of all over the place in qualifying, so it was just kind of weird because in Q1 actually I was 15th fastest. I barely squeezed in to the second round, but then in the second round I went 7th fastest, so we actually made it to Q3 here. And obviously after Hungary we have a contract coming up, so if we can beat Roman Grosjean in this race once again, I'm definitely going to be going for the driver number 1 position. So hopefully we can manage to beat our teammate Grosjean. So now we come through in Q3, like I said, the last little bit of our attempt here as we head down into the penultimate corner, heading down towards the final corner. At this point, Lewis Hamilton on pole. He has had a dominant season so far. Sebastian Vettel is the only other one that's even been able to somewhat compete now as we come down the straightaway, going through P10, unfortunately, and that was obviously not going to improve, so we are 1.9 seconds off the pace. So hopefully we can get up front here or gain a few more positions at race time, so let's get into it.
We've seen some astonishing Grand Prix here over the years, haven't we? The drama of 2015 is a recent example. Jenson Button's first win on a wet track in 2006, or in 1997, Damon Hill's heartbreak in the Arrows after a late gearbox failure cost him what would have been the team's only ever victory. What a wonderful place this is to come racing today. We're northeast of Budapest for the race today at the 2.7-mile Hungaroring circuit. 14 corners here, 8 to the right and 6 to the left, on a track where downforce is king and passing is notoriously difficult. With me to enjoy it all is Anthony Davidson, a man who made his Grand Prix debut here with Minardi back in 2002. So, Ant, this is a bit of a special one for you, I'd imagine.
Yeah, I'd say so. I also stood in to commentate on Jenson's win in 2006, and as I was a test driver for Honda at the time, you can imagine that was quite an emotional Grand Prix. It's also a tough circuit on the drivers, this one too. Lots of long, slow corners that require a lot of patience from inside the car. Plus, it's a very downforce-heavy circuit. I mean, it's all relative, of course, but if you're lacking a bit in downforce, or if you've got a bit of an imbalance in the setup, this is definitely one of the worst places to have to deal with that.
It's time to see how our drivers are stacking up after yesterday's exciting qualifying session. An immense lap from Lewis Hamilton yesterday puts him on pole position, and it's Valtteri Bottas that completes the front row. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Verstappen, Vettel, Pierre Gasly and Leclerc, Sainz, Weber, Raikkonen and the Rainmaster, Norris, Fiat, Sergio Perez and Albon, Grosjean, Ricciardo, Devon Butler and Antonio Giovinazzi. Russell and Robert Kubica takes the last spot on the grid. And now it's time to head down to the track.
You should have some space going into the first corner, so try to keep it tidy.
I will do my best, Jeff. We actually remember to take fuel out of the car today, so that's always good. So obviously starting from the 10th starting position, getting ready here to start the formation lap, at least here in Hungary. Raikkonen up in front of us, as well as our Formula 2 teammate Lucas Weber and Carlos Sainz on the row in front now as we roll off the grid and then come back around and get ready to start the Hungarian Grand Prix. Our teammate Roman Grosjean a little bit behind us here, did not qualify quite as good now as we come through to the grid, getting ready now to go green for the Hungarian Grand Prix. It's Hamilton and Bottas both on the front row. Then we got a Red Bull Ferrari and then Red Bull Ferrari combination there for the next 2 rows now as we're ready to go green now as it's 5 red lights from the 10th starting position. It's lights out and we are underway now here for the Hungarian Grand Prix. It's been an awful start for myself as we head down the straightaway, but thankfully the drivers behind me, Kvyat, Albon, they also have rough starts as well. So we lose 1 spot to Norris now as we go down towards turns 1. Then we're going to be aggressive and sending it up the inside now of Norris. As we come through turns 1, we take the position back and back into P10 we go. And down towards the second turn we go, sitting in that 10th spot, closing in quickly on the back of Raikkonen. And Sebastian Vettel actually picked up some wing damage on this start. I was supposed to have a cinematic cam, but once again, for the second episode in a row, my game crashed. so that was unfortunate. So I couldn't get the replay of the start on the screen, but we would get all in this little train right here as the two Mercedes drivers of Lewis Hamilton and Valtteri Bottas would all just drive away from this train of cars, because Sebastian Vettel, like I said, he was in third position leading this train. Hungary, a tough track to pass, obviously. The front straightaway is just the prime position, but there's not many other parts on this course that we have a good chance to make a pass at. So certainly a lot of guys got stuck behind Sebastian Vettel with that wing damage that he had, which we will see here shortly there as he's defending over the Red Bull of Pierre Gasly, and Gasly has his teammate of Max Verstappen just behind him now as Leclerc sits behind the two Red Bulls there as we come through the penultimate corner, right on the gearbox there of Kimi Räikkönen as we go down into the final corner. Lucas Weber up in P8, Carlos Sainz sits in the 7th position as we exit the last corner, and Valtteri Bottas has the fastest lap here on the opening lap in the Hungarian Grand Prix now. And as we came through to lap 3, the two Mercedes guys weren't even in the picture no more. They were long gone due to Vettel holding up everybody, and like I said, drivers were struggling to get past him. Obviously DRS now enabled, and someone in the Red Bull Gasly, he would take a shot at Vettel, but he still couldn't quite make it work. So Vettel was just holding up everybody, which was kind of good for myself because I didn't feel like I quite had the speed that I needed to early in this run, so it was certainly helping me stay with everybody. And I feel like that in the long run, Sebastian Vettel's issues are going to help us get a maybe better finish than what we were originally going to get. So I was all for it, to be honest, at this point now, as you see the gap starting to stretch out a little bit, but we were closing in once again as I kind of cut that little corner there. That was just a mistake on my part. But it really sucked seeing Sebastian Vettel have these issues. Obviously, he is my favorite Formula 1 driver, so that already sucked. But he's also the only guy that's really within range right now to attack Hamilton in the points. And Hamilton already running away with what looks like a victory. Bottas won in the last one, but now you see the damage here on Sebastian Vettel's left front wing. You see the whole side pod, whatever you call it, is completely missing. And that's what's completely destroying his pace and holding up the Red Bulls, his teammate of Leclerc, Sainz, Weber, Räikkönen, and myself up behind him, as well as we have Lando Norris behind me on the medium tire. And now as we came through on lap 7, Norris actually making a pass on me as you went down towards turns 1, but now the Red Bull starting to really attack Sebastian Vettel up ahead, and we had one of the Red Bulls actually try to get past Vettel, and they would complete that pass, and I believe it was Pierre Gasly that made it work. So now drivers starting to pass Vettel, and we would come through here on lap 8 now to make our first pit stop of the race, which will likely be our only pit stop of the race now as we go through a little bit wide into the grass. Sebastian Vettel, one of the cars in the pit lane, so he's likely going to be doing a wing change, and now he's going to have the pace that he needs. There he is right there in his pit box now as we head into our own pit box. So it's going to be a lengthy stop for Sebastian Vettel. They are replacing that wing. We're in and out in front of Vettel now, so obviously he's going to be hard charging behind us, and he's going to be within range of the passes, probably within 2 to 3 laps now as we would exit the pit lane. P18 behind Weber, and behind us we got Räikkönen, so we were able to get ahead of Räikkönen there in the pit lane now on this 9th lap of the Grand Prix. So we would kind of hover around here in P18 now on lap 12, closing in quickly on Weber, putting in it rich and overtake on the ERS. We're going to send it up the inside now of Weber, and we're going to make the pass work as we come through turns 1. Now Sebastian Vettel coming through as well as he is trying to attack on Weber, and he would also be able to come through eventually to make that pass as Weber just doesn't quite have the speed on this run now after we put on the hard tire as we come through the little right bend. And we were quickly closing in on the back of Carlos Sainz, and we got to the back of Robert Kubica, who was obviously way up the pace in the Williams now on this 15th lap. Vettel at this point had gone to my back gearbox, so now we're right on the back of Kubica, and we have the DRS, so we're going to look over to the right hand side, but Vettel, he's going to make it 3 wide now as we go down the front straightaway, but we easily clear Robert Kubica now as we go down towards turns 1. We don't obviously fight Vettel, we let him have the position, and away he goes now as we exit the first turn. Vettel's future at Ferrari obviously in question, and right now in the game and in real life. Obviously, we could be the one that replaces him next season at Ferrari if we impress in this last half the season. Now, as we came through, moving up to P13 as we came to lap 17, some other drivers starting to pit now as Vettel had gotten to the back gearbox at this point of Carlos Sainz, now in attack mode on him, and as we came through on lap 18, he's about to make a move on Sainz, but as he makes a move, he blows up now as we go down towards turns 1. Sebastian Vettel has retired from the Hungarian Grand Prix. He almost gets into me there as he actually did touch my right rear tire, as now he is out our first DNF here in the Hungarian Grand Prix. The one driver that really is Lewis Hamilton's biggest competitor this season is out, and this is just not what we need to have happen because Hamilton is already cruising away with a championship, and we've just passed the halfway point in the season. It's kind of looking like real life right now, and as we came through on lap 23, though, up to P6 due to pit stops now, and we make a move up the inside of Carlos Sainz there with a late dive bomb to the inside. We make it work, and we have found ourselves now in the 5th position somehow. Obviously, a career best is P6. I believe that was at France when it started raining, so we kind of got lucky. There was strategy. And now, when Sebastian Vettel held everybody up earlier in this race, this has helped me again to get me a chance to be up in P5 now as it came to just 10 laps to go at this point. Lando Norris had gotten to the back of Sainz, but he was really struggling to get past him on the front straightaway. So Norris was much faster than Sainz. Norris was faster than me, but obviously him being held up behind Sainz was allowing me to drive away and hold on to P5, looking for a career best finish, a great finish actually here in Hungary if we can hold on to it. Not what I expected at all. It was looking like we're going to be maybe a 10th to 11th place finishing car, but here we find ourselves now in P5 due to Gasly being way behind and Vettel having issues and just everyone being held up has just worked out in my favor. And as we came through though to lap 32 of 35, Norris had gotten past Sainz, and he was quickly closing in on me, but he was running out of time now as we came through, already hitting 2 to go in this race. And as we came to now the final lap now in Hungary, you can see Norris within range. Gasly actually putting the pressure on Sainz, who had a very weird strategy, so we put him way behind as well. We should probably be in 7th right now, but now we find ourselves in P5 on this final lap as we exit turn 1. Norris doing everything he can to try and close in on the back of my gearbox here as we head down in through turns 2 and as well down towards turns 3. Lewis Hamilton, though, has continued to dominate, and he has once again dominated today in the Hungarian Grand Prix, and Lewis Hamilton comes out of the final corner. He will win once again here in Hungary, and Valtteri Bottas, his teammate, would come through to get the 2nd finishing position, and Max Verstappen, he was going to come through to get the 3rd spot. And so now as we came through within just the final corners here now, we had held off Lando Norris. We had done our job, a great job here today in Hungary. Our teammate Roman Grosjean way behind, not even close as we come out of the final corner. We're going to come through to have a career best finish of P5 in Hungary.
Alright, race over. Take care of the car on the way in.
So Mercedes have won it, and what a great race it was. Anthony Davidson, how do you think they were able to set themselves apart today?
Well, this was a real team victory. They put together a solid strategy today that appeared well suited to the conditions out on track. The driver did everything that was expected of them in the moment to really execute the team's plan to perfection, a shining example of how F1 really is a team sport.
And I can see the drivers starting to approach the podium for the victory celebrations. A real team victory today. Everybody played their part. Congratulations then to Mercedes, your race winners today.
An incredible result for us, a career best finish with P5. Our teammate Roman Grosjean there down in P12, so not even in the points for our teammate Roman Grosjean, unfortunately, as Vettel obviously down in P20. Kubica 1 lap down, unfortunately for him. As you see, 4th place, Charles Leclerc, so not a bad result, but there it is now. Lewis Hamilton has a 70-point lead over 2nd place of Sebastian Vettel. Like I said, he is running away with the championship. We're now 26 points ahead of our teammate Roman Grosjean. Obviously, it was so close earlier, but now we have really run away from our teammate now as we're still in the same spot there. I think it said 5th for the constructors standings. So a good result once again, and now we have a contract coming up that we get to negotiate. As always, though, if you guys enjoyed this episode, make sure to comment, like, and subscribe. Those would all be very appreciated. Our rep continues to increase there with Ferrari. That's the team we wanted to really increase with here in this final half of the season as we get ready to do the contract negotiation. And they had a very weird negotiation to start it off, but this was the one we ended up going with. I had to give up quite a bit here just to become driver number 1, as I felt like I deserved it. And there it is. We get driver number 1. So we've been promoted now to the first driver here for the Haas F1 team, and we have now gotten the option to choose a rival. I kept forgetting to choose a rival, but we choose Devin Butler, none other than Devin Butler, our Formula 2 rival. So there you see the R&D stuff. We are are going to make some more upgrades here, trying to get some more pace for the next races. I think it's Spa coming up in the next one, so a track that should be very maybe favorable to Ferrari, you would think. So we'll see how that one goes in the next episode. There's once again, you see the point standings on your screen. Vettel is going to need some really good races here if he wants to have a chance at a championship. So I will see you guys in the next episode. Thank you for watching, everybody, and have yourselves a great day.